Being live streamed on YouTube.
All right. Do us a roll call then, please?
Yes. That's my 5 minutes. Thank you. All right, Alderperson Kim Olson is not present. Keith Lodahl,
Here.
Lisa Newman. Here. Margie Sather.
Here.
Alex Jones is not here.
Yeah, he can't.
We have 3 present, so we do have a quorum.
Okay, good. So now I will, we need a pledge.
Showed it today.
Right in front of Margie.
Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Do we need to approve the minutes? Have we had a chance to look at the minutes? Did they look accurate? Our last meeting? So I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Yes.
Second.
Sorry, there was one of us. That's okay. One of us needs to be one of us.
We can do that with just all in favor, right?
Correct.
All in favor, say aye.
Yes.
Opposed? The ayes have it. So thank you. It doesn't look like we have a lot of citizens stacked up here for comments.
My citizen comment from Alex is, if a webinar is an option, I can be open to times before 5, or basically whatever works best for everyone else, but if I need to be in person, it would have to be after 5.
Okay.
So.
We
just
do
so
have the
we know-
capability to send a Zoom link,
Okay.
if that helps.
I just asked him what, you know what I mean, so that's for the future meetings. Okay,
All right.
I'll just stop. Okay, I'll let him know.
Then probably what we'll need on the next agenda is a decision to change the meeting time, and then we'll have a vote on it. We'll start next time it'll be at 4 o'clock still, and then after that we'll switch to 5.
Yeah. Sure. And try a webinar and see who's able to come that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Just something to think about.
Okay, what I'd hope to do tonight, and let's just start off with some general discussion, kind of like we were doing a few minutes ago. We're talking about what we noticed when we were looking at the various different websites out there that had information on communications for cities, and also looking at the web pages for the cities. So we'd like to start talking about that. Would you like to answer?
Well, like I said, that, the gov, that, what was, I don't recall the name of it, the government, one, that seemed a little bit user friendly. I don't know as far as internet access, I don't recall if it had, monthly meetings and stuff, I'm not too sure. What was the other one? Was there a BOGO one? I don't remember.
There were 3 that we looked at.
The other thing I noticed is, some cities, they'll have their city website, but then they'll have a tourism website.
Yeah.
It seems a lot more colorful, easier to use, you know, where the city website is more informational, right? I noticed that and I know several cities that do that too.
You know, I wonder if that would be like a Chamber of Commerce thing that would do that. It wouldn't necessarily fall into the jurisdiction of this group, but there's no reason that we can't take a look at that while we're looking at other things.
And it could be that we just take something from the city, you know what I mean, and then put, like, it could just be when you click on that actually goes to a site.
I was gonna say, do you
Yeah.
click on the city and then shoots you to, okay, all
Yeah,
right.
link it from.
Some of them have their own names, they usually more like visit this, or, you know, they'll say tourism in it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of cities that, large villages and cities that I know that do that too, so just something to keep in mind, you know.
No, I agree. We do have, I don't know if it's tourism necessarily, but we have things on our city website that do link people to things outside of the city's jurisdiction, and that's perfectly fine. I would hope as we develop there would be some things that we can do like that, that'll be
Is
a
there one
benefit
that-
to citizens.
Sorry, is there one that links you to like Dodge County too? You know,
Dodge County should have,
Oh,
Dodge County have their, I thought it has their own. Well, they used to have Discover Dodge, but that I thought disbanded, so, but they Dodge County, you can find Dodge County tourism site.
And there'd be no reason why we shouldn't link to something like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
As well as I really think that it would be beneficial for us to highlight the good businesses that we have in this community and make sure that people are aware of how to get to them. And that sort of thing as well.
The other part that we should think about too is like, since the marsh is such a central focus, is making sure everything somehow,
Ties back to that.
or that, yeah, I guess I don't even know if we're on the Fort Con marsh. Like if it links, like if it would say like what's around it, like Fort Con, or Con, us, you know what I mean? And then that'd be, I guess I didn't check that, but
Yeah, I didn't either. That's a good thing for us to look at. I don't know if they do something like that or not.
because if you went there, then you'd also go, oh, hey, here's a city nearby, you know?
Yeah.
Because people generally, when they're going to the marsh, they'll search what's around that area.
I have a good friend he's from the Milwaukee area and he comes up to the marsh to bird watch and, he was telling me about, he didn't know where I was from. He's an amateur radio operator and I was talking to him one year I have as well. And he was talking about coming up here looking for birds. He said, there's this great Piggly Wiggly that I stop every time I go up there to get things for lunch going in there. And I said, well, it can only be in one place. It'll either be in Waupun or Mayville. Oh, it's in Mayville. So he likes the Mayville pig and he comes up here and shops there for his lunch before he goes out of the
There
marsh.
are people that, my mom, when she comes to Maple, will go, just because she likes it more than
That's
she
a nice
likes, you know, what they have, so.
It's a good story.
Mhm.
I think, the various different bits of software out there, I think eventually we're gonna wind up going in that direction. And I think when we get to that point, we'll probably have a long meeting or two where we'll have to have salesmen in for those concerns to show us what they've got. And Stacey, I think it's gonna be critical that we need to work that out, so it works with you here too, because you're gonna have to live with the outcome of that. So we're gonna very much be leaning on you for determining what's the best.
Did you find out how long ago our city website was? I thought they did it when they did the takes on our original or something, was it not the same vendor or not?
I am not sure. I don't know.
I was trying to figure out how,
It's been around for a while.
yeah, how old it's been, or how old it was. or-
It's not the first attempt at it. I remember the first website was like all the websites that if you look at it, with technology that we've become accustomed to today was pretty pathetic,
Mhm.
but it was pretty neat at the time. And this one, I don't want to be overly critical because I think to maintain something that big takes a lot of work. And we've been pretty frugal as far as how much time we've been willing to have city employees spend on things like that. But I think we're gonna need to do something with that because I know there are a lot of outdated things on there
Mhm.
and that sort of thing, which doesn't make us look real good when somebody's looking for something. And interesting thing that I found out, I got in the mayor's case. That's how I wound up on this committee. I got in the mayor's case when he was a brand new mayor about, I was looking for minutes of a meeting.
Yeah, they're not all on there.
Well, when I went to the one on the front page, they stopped like 3 or 4 years ago. And I said, we've got antique stuff on here. Where is it? He said, oh, I know they're on the website. And I looked and I looked and I looked and I found them. And they are,
Where are they?
but
They feed backwards.
yeah,
So the
That's
older
why.
ones stay near the top, and the newer ones keep feeding at the bottom. It's all the website stuff.
Interesting.
so we need to do something about that eventually, but that's not something that we need to decide.
Here's some of that. Oh, really?
Louder.
Okay, okay.
And how easy, is it for you to like put in the minutes? Is it, I mean, how much time do you guys?
So there are a couple different places they have us put it. So we have to publish it
Mhm.
with the minutes that way, but the agenda, we also connect to the calendar. So, because I think a lot of people utilize that calendar
Mhm.
to quick get to what's coming up, what meeting's coming up.
And they should be able to define the date and they should be able to see an agenda.
Right.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
Want to sit in more help the
I was looking, I looked at, like,
Yeah, sit in for a minute.
yeah,
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it would be beneficial if you have a few minutes. If we're just kind of going over some things that we saw on the city's webpage. I think since we've got you, what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring that whiteboard around and start doing a list on what got us here to this point where we're having this meeting. And so then if we get enough items on there, things that we've spotted, concerns that we have about communications, then we maybe even be able to start doing some very basic prioritizing the site where we want to start.
Let me get a pen. I will put some things up on the board. Does that work?
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
They're right next to it.
Oh, perfect, yeah.
We're ready for you.
All right. I think I can even potentially make it legible.
I can tell you're a consultant. I used to be able to do that. You're not left-handed, are you?
No,
You know, lefties are the best ones in Lisbon. They can stand in front, face people, and then
right,
right,
not, yeah, right.
standing in the way.
So, this first category will be like, kind of, why are we here?
Yeah.
Right?
And I'll start off by saying, that one of the reasons that I'm here is, goes back to the time that I jumped in your chest because the minutes on the website were out of date and you told me they were out there and right, and I did find it, but I had to work at it. But, you know, the first thing I saw was outdated information.
So it's basically open meetings records and a timely, being able to,
And it needs to be easy for someone dumb like me to find them on the webpage.
yeah. Ease of access,
Good.
mhm,
and that could be minutes, agendas,
mhm.
yep.
I think we need something more modern, basically, I look at a lot of other websites. And they're more colorful, they're more, simple, I guess is the word,
User friendly.
user friendly.
Yeah.
And then I also had mentioned before you came that a lot of cities or villages will also have a tour, like they'll have their city website or village website, but then it goes into a tourism website, which that is off of that. So it is either, it'll say it's a tourism website or it's a visit website and
Links.
links, so it's important to be linked.
Almost like purpose built.
Yeah. Mhm.
One of the things I noticed when you navigate our website now, there's a ton of information there, but it isn't really easy to determine how to get where you want to be quickly,
Yes, yes,
right?
right.
And it's for city stuff plus things that aren't city stuff necessarily.
Mhm.
You know, looking at one of the repositories of all knowledge of what's going on in Mayville, being Facebook nosy neighbors. There are questions about cable TV and questions about the power and light business and, you know, all kinds of things. And I would like to see some kind of really easy flow chart on there. So if people are having trouble with something to do with living in Mayville, whether it was
Right.
the utility or the electricals or cable TV or the phones or whatever, they can go to there and get sent in a direction that'll be.
And I think we have to make sure everything's very easy with mobile, because most people look through everything
Yeah.
mobilely, and it
Yeah,
really has to be easy to read and understand and use that way. So.
Mobile device optimization.
Mhm.
we want Andy to have all this taken care of by the time we're back together next.
By next Tuesday.
Yeah. What about, like permits and stuff, would that, would that be on to them?
This is a great, so this is kind of there's two methods to consider as it relates to self-serve for permits, payments, dog tag, whatever it may be. Paying for things via the website, but also kiosks.
Yeah.
Having a kiosk available in the city lobby or something like that to do. So I'm just gonna put it over here. It's just something that I know it's come up before.
Okay,
But what's nice about kiosk, one of the challenges we have in City Hall right now is from a staffing standpoint, especially during tax payment season and everything else, when you've got the water, the utility bill payments coming in, you've got people coming in to pay the utilities, and it's just, there's a lot of volume. And if we could get 25% or 33% or half of the people to use the kiosk as opposed to going to the front desk, that's just gonna help people be more efficient.
well, they'd be happier too, because they wouldn't have to wait in any lines.
Right, yep. So kiosk is just, that's another, and also, Courtney at the utility is aware of some funding that's available, some grant funding that's available for the purpose of a kiosk.
We like grant funding.
Grant funding's good.
Now, how would that work for the elderly? Because I know the elderly is like, kiosk, no way.
Right,
So,
yeah,
would there be like a day of education? How?
It has to be, whatever we do has to be a blend. We can't say everything has
Yes.
to go to a kiosk.
Oh, okay,
Because,
gotcha. Okay, all right.
because there are gonna be people that wanna come and talk
They
to.
could still
any-
come to the counter.
Right.
Yeah.
Still receive it.
I mean, since the very inception of this whole concept of the communications committee, I mean, one word I use constantly is hybrid. It's a hybridization of multiple channels or media types.
It's gotta be, because you're absolutely correct in that it's not gonna, there isn't one of these things that's gonna suit everybody.
Mhm.
So we need to try and hit as many people as we can as we're going through this.
But if you get people more, like I know at Spectrum, they know that's what they went to. Granted, but there'll be people there that they don't know, like they'll come up and say, I want to pay my bill, and they'll say, have you ever used the kiosk?
Yeah.
And then they will show them how to use it, and so they get comfortable with it, but they'll tell them if you want to still
Mhm.
go this route, you can go this route, but they're showing them and making it easy for them.
And never go to Spectrum to do anything at first thing in the morning. Line move around.
Sure.
I just watched. So,
A thought that comes to mind, so for instance, we're anticipating, it looks like it might come to fruition, but a huge snow event this week.
Yeah,
mhm.
The ability to push information out to people's mobile devices to say, hey, look,
Yes.
we've got a snowstorm coming and our plows, will be running between these hours, be mindful of parking or whatever it may be. So
Would that with schools too, then school closings?
it could be school closures, it could be police events, law enforcement activity, it could be a number of different things, just ways to push information out.
Sure.
And I think
I believe the schools do have their own system.
Oh,
they do,
Yeah, you
they do,
probably-
they send texts and they do, but they use a lot on Facebook. They
Okay.
do, they always send stuff out on Facebook besides emails. So,
And I don't know, I just one of the providers, probably many of them probably have like an app or something on that you can put on your phone.
yeah. One of the things that we ran into, I think when you were on the water commission there before you achieved the lofty position that you currently have, was when we had the flooding down there on Springbrook Court and the people wanted a notification that was coming.
Right.
I don't know that we've had to use it, but I think we made arrangements in between to have some of that available to.
and sometimes just like during the holidays, just reminding people like the way the holidays felt, like Monday was garbage pickup. Because what happened is everyone on the news heard it wasn't Monday.
Right,
And they were talking about Milwaukee, but in their head, they went, oh, they're just those little things that you can put notices out to remind people.
And that even could be on the regular webpage. It
Mhm.
wouldn't have to be sent out
Yep.
separate. I know we've got graphic that tells when, what day is,
Yes.
for part of the community is pick up just of garbage and what is, for recyclables too. The trouble that I have with that is I have to go, I have a great big monitor on my computer, and if I blow it up all the way, I can almost read it, you know?
Yeah.
And on my device, I just can't.
Mhm.
So it'd be nice, back to the device friendly thing, you know, those of us that
Yeah.
don't have the vision that we once did, it would be nice to have it a little more.
People want to get information quickly and efficiently.
Yeah.
People in general. are
Well, I
using
think more and more, they want it brought to them.
Yes,
They don't necessarily want to have to seek it out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we ever get completely to that point,
But you can,
but let's make it easy for them if they want to seek out information.
Yeah, we're never gonna be able to get it to the point where we won't have people that have the wrong idea about things that are going on, but we want to give them every opportunity to find out for themselves without having to go through, you know, a Herculean task to get there.
Right.
Mhm.
One question I've had, if you look at the city's website right now, while we're in the midst of looking at optimizing it, improving it, whatever it may be, we have so much out there right now. Does it make sense to scale it back a little bit? I don't know. I mean,
I think, you know, I'm one of those guys who likes to go out there once in a while and read the ordinances, and I want that to stay on there. It needs to be available.
yes, for sure.
And I like the idea of having, to be able to go there and find out when Jack is gonna come and pick up the brush that I have stacked up in the alley and stuff like that. Those things are pretty important, and I want to scale back on that.
Yep, for sure. I'm just gonna make a note of just ordinance 360.
Like I looked at a smaller town and my mom's from Black River Falls and I just like picked that one because they have a smaller downtown, whatever, but they have a really great website. It's colorful, you know what I mean? And I was looking at it, it really spotlights like something major that they're working on.
Yeah.
You know, like, and just it looks easy to navigate on, like all their buttons make sense. You can find them real quickly. And what you said, there's an ordinance button that makes it, you know, but there's also like reporting issue button,
Yeah.
you know, so there's,
That's a good thing. too.
and then
Yep.
underneath would be all the news, more news, and then you just scroll down. But the buttons, the most important is at the top, is what I'm saying. So it's like,
And you don't want to have a million clicks to get to places,
no,
but you know, it's good to have a fairly limited number to start with that'll blow you out into. And in a sense, we've got that with the division of, what is it, 4 things? We've got
yeah,
government, we've got citizens, whatever it's businesses, whatever they are. That's a start on it, I think.
right.
Yeah.
I think there is.
Maybe just,
One of the groups, it was. I don't remember if it's the one I made it to the preview on or the one that I slept through and didn't get there in time for the. But they had, actually, they had several web pages that they'd done, that they had examples of they'd done for particulars. And one of them really highlighted a project that was going on in that area. And they were doing it like a street project, and it was a web page just for that, and you can get there from the main web page and it went into detail of what they were doing. I thought it was great.
It's a great idea.
that's
The
what,
only trouble that I have with all of this stuff is who's gonna do it?
I mean, that's what Black River had.
Right.
Like
That's the
underneath,
challenge.
Their thing,
Yeah.
and it's at the top. And I liked it because it was like they're working on a playground project. That was their first thing, and all the information is there. So you know, like something major is happening in town. So for us, it might be the library, right? So that would be
That would be a good one.
to incorporate that right away, but.
Well, and thinking outside the box, I mean, I think that we've had conversations in the past with, say, the school district or the school board. I think there would be an interest, I mean, and there would be opportunity for
Students.
letting students, if they're interested in AV and video production and whatever it is,
They could be.
that could be a part of the answer, right?
Absolutely.
So we could do things like a plant tour of the wastewater plant, right? I mean, things like this to give people a view of things inside the city that they wouldn't see every day,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
Wanna put that up?
I'll just put intern, AV intern or something like that.
But
And Black River will use take up, so you know, on the bottom, it's take up.
That's-
Someone sent that around, right?
What was it?
Their common solicitor.
Yeah. Mhm. So I don't know if they.
You know, so I think we've made tremendous strides in terms of recording these meetings and broadcasting them and making them available
Yes.
to the public on a self-serve basis. That's cool. There's so much technology available to make it even better and more seamless. And by that, I mean, you've got an agenda, you've got minutes, you've got a meeting that lasts 3 hours. And you can kind of do an overlay of the agenda versus the real-time recording. And you want to go in and see, when did Keith Lodahl talk about whatever's going on at wastewater? Oh, that's at the 37-minute mark.
Yeah.
It's clearly marked and defined right there. Cool, you go there. And there's Keith telling us what he has to say about it.
I like that
Now,
idea.
some of the, I think like a couple of the companies that I looked at and that we sent around, it's a soup to nuts thing with, it helps write the agenda to begin with, it helps get it published. And it also takes care of the minutes, and I believe they tie right into the Facebook
Yeah, I
presence
read that.
where they can do that. And to me, that would be very worthwhile for us to look into.
Yeah.
The challenge is gonna be to see who we go with and who we can afford. You still haven't given us our budget for this year, Otter.
I will let that. We'll make suggestions to the council.
Okay,
We gotta take a look at what our options are.
Money's no object.
That is, I have never said those words. Hybrid. So look, I mean, some of these things, if we can leverage this technology, leverage some of the automated minute tracking and posting, that's going to free Annie and others up, right? It's gonna take, I mean, because the amount of time that it takes to do all, it's a lot.
It's significant.
And we do run a lean operation. It's-
Well, we need to.
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah.
But we also, I think I told you, and I know I told you, when I was in the consulting world, there were a lot of times where I go into a place that had been working with another consultant and find out he had them working hours and hours every day on stuff that had no bearing on the work they were supposed to do. So we'd stop that right away. People are too busy to do that.
Yeah.
So whatever we come up with, it's gonna have to streamline things,
Yep.
And I was pleasantly surprised to find out that the agenda building and such is already being done through a similar system, an older version.
Yeah.
So that's, this won't be completely radical, brand new technology.
No, they had been looking to upgrade to a newer version with the company we currently use.
And there very easily could be some benefits for doing that, but we're gonna have to see what they have to offer and what else is out there on the market. And then the council will have to make a decision.
Yeah.
One of the things that, I mentioned it a little bit before here. It's like, for me, it's kind of, some days it's like watching the train wreck that's about to happen. I can't help but go out on the Facebook and see what people are saying about the community. And I find it very troubling that there are a lot of misconceptions about what the city can and can't do and what the city does. And, I've stopped trying to comment on them because it seems like I just get in a mud wrestling match with someone that doesn't do anything. But I don't want us to get to the point where we are on that particular board, but I also think there's a place for social media in all this. And I think the city does have a Facebook account, right?
Yep.
Correct.
And so I think we're gonna have to make sure that we sell ourselves on that, things that are going well.
Some thoughts I've had around that. So as an example, the police is bringing back their Citizens Academy at the end of March.
That's great.
Well, we, city government, could do a sort of citizens, like a civics 101 type course, like this is, thinking back of Schoolhouse Rock, this is the bill, this is I'm not saying to get up singing Schoolhouse Rock to everybody, but educate people like we do. The second Monday of the month is the Common Council meeting. People would be surprised to learn that the second Monday of the month is different than the fourth Monday of the month, which is committee night, right? But there's a process that things go through, and I think a lot of people are. I wasn't aware of it. I learned it when I started coming to meetings a couple of years ago. So I wrote Lee content. So there's an organization, League of Wisconsin Municipalities, that has a lot of information available on their website and pamphlets and brochures and everything else. And maybe we can take advantage of, maybe we can put links on our site for more of the civics education.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
are we still members of the league? I know there was discussion at one point in time about not being, I found them to be tremendously helpful. Years ago when I was on council and much more involved than I am now in city government.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very good suggestion.
we rely on them a bit, quite a bit.
Yeah, we should, that they're the experts.
Yeah.
And
it's-
all of us, even though some of us have been around here for a while, we're all amateurs when it comes to this. We're volunteers doing what we can.
you can learn something new about any topic in any given day, you know? One thing you mentioned, I think it's really interesting, and we should click into this and dig into it further, but when it comes to, so our page, the way it's designed, it's everything. I want to tell you about Mayville, the community. I want to tell you what we're doing with small businesses. I want to tell you about what we're doing Main Street. I want to tell you about jobs that are available, so on and so forth. It's all on one page, and you scroll down, or you hit a tab here and there. But we've got to find a better way, almost having separate websites that you can link to or click to and drive into or drill down into different content, as opposed to trying to have it all on one page. So that's the modernization thing.
Yeah, have a index that we can go to, a welcome to Mayville, and
Yeah.
if you're interested in.
Yep.
Here's where you need to go.
Giving members of the common council the opportunity to interact with their ward. Maybe there's ward pages or something to that effect.
Well, I think there's a start on that now, but it needs to be developed a little more. I think.
Inside the site.
Yeah. I know I had a discussion with someone here not too long ago that, they said, well, we can't get a hold of, and they said, well, all you gotta do is look on the webpage, and there's a phone number and an email address for everyone.
Yep.
And I said, I said, I know the mayor responds to all of his messages, and I assume all the older people do as well.
Mhm.
And I would be really startled if they didn't.
Yeah.
And
I think more of like a chat room, or if people have questions, they would be easier chat room that would respond right away. Versus.
I don't think we could.
You gotta be
that-
careful with that because of public record and open record and how we retain that.
Well,
Okay.
it's also, it's tough to, you can't assign someone to be waiting for a chat at a certain time, but I think if people reach out to elected officials, they need to expect an answer.
Yeah.
And I think everyone would agree with that.
Do we have is there anything that is advised to older persons? Like if you receive an email, I would hope you respond within 48 hours or 24 hours.
Oh, for sure. I mean, everybody. We have a couple of retirees, but for the most part, everybody's got a day job. I mean, it's their,
Okay.
I think it's realistic for people to expect a return call certainly within 24 hours.
Sure. Okay.
And I haven't heard,
It's probably more a matter of people not knowing that information. So
That's
available. Yeah. that's-
Yeah.
I think there's a fair amount of it is assumptions, people make assumptions and
Yeah.
it's acting out of not really understanding what's going on. And I think one of the things that we need to really make an effort is, as we're putting this together, that we get out into the community and say, this, when we have a product, we need to make sure people are aware of it.
Yeah.
We need to sell
Well, when you link something with Facebook, you could also link to different features on the website that maybe
Yeah.
aren't being utilized because people do tend to look there.
it. Well, Facebook is the first place a lot of people go. I had to tell someone here not too long ago that Facebook was not the official of the city. You need to go to the Pioneer and then go to the website.
it's a multimedia, there's, and it's interesting. So I spoke to the Lions Club the other night. We were talking about the new technology and we're recording, we're broadcasting live, and we're making the archive and the meetings available and people said, yeah, that's great. That's awesome. I asked, has anybody seen the meeting yet? And they haven't. So it's an education thing. I want to definitely get the word out there. I want people to know that you don't necessarily have to watch the meetings live, but to know that you can go in at any time and pull up an old meeting and see what somebody said. So,
And even these meetings.
And even these meetings.
What would be, maybe like a welcome to the neighbor Mayville or new to Mayville or something and having just a list of, you know, all that, just condensed.
Is there, you
We
know,
used to do a welcome packet. We don't do it any longer.
I think the chamber used to work on some of that
Did it?
too,
there was
years
a
ago.
welcome wagon in town.
Well, there used to be a welcome wagon, but then the chamber handled a lot of that, then they worked with the businesses to put that together, but I don't know even anymore, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's even part of what the chamber, they haven't done it for a long time that I know of, so.
I remember we had someone stop at the house shortly after we moved in.
Yes.
And that was quite a deal, but you know, that was 50 years ago.
No, I know, it was okay, well, they did
Things
it.
have changed. Are you suggesting things have changed?
It's changed a little bit, yeah.
Marty, you moved in about how long ago? You're fairly new to
A
Mayville.
little over a year ago,
Okay.
yeah, and I just kind of explored and, yeah, and just, you know, with the tax, I know they, you know, send out little pamphlets in there, that helped.
Yeah.
Neighbors, it's like, I can do with that, or, yeah, so it's just kind of asking around, but it would be nice to go, well, what's going on with this, you
I
know?
think the problem now is like, cause everyone, I mean, nobody has, you wouldn't know a new address, right? I mean, how would you find out if there's anybody that moved to a new address where,
Oh,
you know, cause everyone's,
well,
it's
So,
just different, right?
well,
It's
with
all-
home ownership, don't they get with like,
Ownership, yeah, but there are an awful lot of people that rented this.
yeah,
too.
yeah, there are.
And,
Mhm.
and we were renting when we first,
Sure.
first were welcome to the community.
It could be as simple as maybe the mayor just doing a small video and posting it on our website.
I totally agree.
There you go.
And starting with something, video is really powerful. People love video. They just love to watch video. So if it's a short message and you're telling them what to do, hey, you know, stop by, we don't have whatever, you can see response to that. Or-
And I think that, again, I mean, we're just taking notes here, we're
Right.
coming up with a lot of stuff, right? And the key is whatever it is that ultimately gets implemented needs to be easy,
Yes,
seamless, easy. Kind of plug and play, meaning when you get a new mayor, all you need to do is have the new mayor record the video and just swap it out and those types of things, but. I do think part of the answer is to, because it would help students as well,
mhm,
find a way to work with the school district
mhm.
to create some sort of a audio video program or
Do you have a
internet
relationship
marketing.
with the schools at all?
I mean, I can reach out for sure.
Yeah, I know at various different times during my involvement with the city, things were pretty good and they were also pretty rocky with between the city and the schools and I would hope that, you know, we're all in this together, you know. And if you could make a contact over there and see if there is a way that we can make this happen, then
Yeah.
then we need
If we
to,
find out that is an option, then we
yeah,
can pursue that further and see what that would look like.
that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll make a note to reach out.
You know, I'm thinking, no, this is a long time ago, but, when we had our community cable channel up, I used to do a show like, it was once a week. And then we'd have we set up for an hour and we'd have different people on every 15 minutes to talk to us. So it'd be every week, or we always talked with the chief of police for an update, but you find, so like, if the new business moved in town, they came in. Now, obviously it was on VHS back in the day, which is a long time ago, but, and then we always played it on the community cable channel back then, but what I'm saying nowadays, even just a simple updated show, or, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, like.
That could be on YouTube.
Podcast.
It could be on the
Whatever it is.
YouTube channel. We
Yeah.
can partition it, right? So we can make it so there's a
Yeah.
specific section that's just about the community,
Yes,
new to the neighborhood or whatever it
Is
may
there
be.
anything really going on? Does Spectrum have a community channel anymore?
Spectrum has a community
Yeah.
channel. The hardware that we had broke. That hardware had been furnished to us at no cost. They've changed their policy since, so now that the equipment is broke, they won't replace it at no cost.
and I don't think nowadays you need to do that anymore. You can do podcasts, you can do a YouTube channel,
Yeah.
but you just get people used to
It'd be a lot more
going to that.
Yes,
And you can have, yeah, and that would be, for me, that would be a great program for maybe high school students.
Yeah.
Because they could get used to interviews and finding topics and
Yeah.
maybe it's every other week or something.
I watched a commercial that was put together by someone for a business, a smaller business that looked very professionally put together. And they found out they did it on a cell phone.
Yeah.
Recorded on a cell phone.
Most of the commercials we do now, you can take a lot of footage on a cell phone
Yeah.
because the quality of your cameras are so strong. But yes, so, and younger people.
Yeah.
They're quick to figure that out and what they need to do and they might be engaging and it would connect them to the city and the different departments in the city, different businesses, things that's going on and it might be really engaging for them. So I think we called ours a maple hour. I mean, I think it was a simple back then, but you know, they find a fun name and they start promoting it and their network of people themselves. Because they would get now their friends to watch it because they created it, but then you get the parents, and you get everyone else, and you can have an instant audience.
Yeah.
That wouldn't take long. So
Yeah, I love that idea. So I'm gonna. What'd you call it, the Mayville Hour?
yeah, yes, well, that's what we call it back then.
What group were you with? Doing?
I just did it on my own,
You did?
because I came from West Bend and we did a lot of stuff in the city of West Bend when I moved here. I think it was 20 years ago, so we brought it here and we used the city improvement channel for that. But it was, you know, I was a stay-at-home mom, so I could run around and find, and I was active in the community with Main Street and stuff, so it was easy to just. And you'd call a business in, that new business, say, come, let's talk about your business and,
They'd love to do it.
yeah, and then you'd have time for the mayor or the police department or whatever, to give them updates on whatever you need to talk about.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, there's gonna be so much going on over the next few years. It would be really great to be able to have something like that for people to see.
Mhm.
I know from the utility side of it, we've got some big things coming up. And
Mhm.
People need to be made aware and
Yeah.
people need to
understand why and
Yeah.
and all those things.
And you could always, and we also talked about calendar events, things that were happening from that.
Yeah.
coming up. It was, but it was a fun project and I think that nowadays how technology is, that would really take a life of its own.
Especially if we could find someone from the community like you did that is willing to take a hold of it and run with it.
And there's a lot, the kids are pretty talented nowadays, so, you know.
I mean, there's a.
Yeah.
My son's in college studying that very thing, right? I mean, they're,
Mhm.
you would have jumped on something like that
Oh, yeah.
to an opportunity at high school, so. I'll take it upon, put myself on the to-do list. I will reach out to the school district to discuss it. And hopefully have some more specifics with you or for you when you get together next.
I mean, they do marketing and marketing.
Mhm.
There, so.
Yep.
Are you able to catch up with this, Penny, or do you want me to copy what he's got on the flip chart?
I'll take a picture of it.
Ah,
You're gonna take a picture of it?
No, I've got it here.
Oh, you got it. Okay, good, good. All right.
And I'll.
Do you want me to take a picture of it so you can?
It's, and we've got a lot of stuff on there. Is there anything else that jumps out that we missed so far?
Well, I think the main thing that we want it to be easy for people to access, but we want to communicate with them, right?
Yeah.
So-
Yes. So
Maybe
it's
two-way.
Yeah,
bi-directional.
yes, yes,
And it's, when we say ease of access, it's easy for the community to find content that they're looking for, but it's also easy for our staff
yes, both ways,
Yeah.
yes,
to put it out there.
yes.
So,
Yeah, that's definitely important because as things get locked down in an apartment, these are the first things that fall off.
Sure, oh, sure, and that's understandable.
it's a good starting point.
Mhm.
Okay,
All
well,
right,
thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna take a picture of that. So, I mean, that's how,
Never forget it.
where is my phone? Oh, it's up there.
I think what we need to plan on for, we've got some ideas here. I think next time we get together, we need to review what we've got on there and see if we need to add anything. And then we need to see where we want to get started and pick out a project or two and then do a deeper dive. See what we can come up with. And as we talked about today, we're not going to be the deciders on these things. We need to be suggestors. So we'll need to see what we can find out there and then go from there. Well,
It's your meeting. You're down your dance floor.
well, I was kind of thinking that maybe we're at the point of this thing for a motion to adjourn, if it's appropriate. Unless we have something.
Can I make the motion or do you want me to?
Oh, make a motion.
I will second.
And adjournment motions are always acceptable. All in favor?
I.
I.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you all.